YouTube subscribers. Or subscriber rate. Hit the fucking like button and subscribe before I knock your ass out, man. I ain't fucking with you, man.
UFC Vegas 58, Fiziev versus Dos Santos RDA. Yes, back at the Apex. Fight was supposed to happen before, guys. If you remember, a few months ago, Fiziev got COVID. And it is happening this weekend, hopefully, right? Definitely looking forward to this main event. Card's decent. There's some decent fights on the main card. I'll be breaking down this fight, the main event, and all fights on the main card, providing free picks, leans, and maybe what to avoid as well. Systemsportscapping.com to become a client today. Receive my personal plays in all sports. I'm not just a UFC handicapper, guys. Not a one-trick pony. I handicap 5 to 7 different sports, depending on the time of the year, of course. A little slower during the summer. Profitable in each sport every year. Profitable in each sport every year, no matter what the sport is. Updated records daily at the website. Free picks. Client comments all over at the website. Also, system capping on all social media platforms. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Daily content over there. Weekly updates, free picks, sports news, client comments over in my Instagram over the years. Over the past 3 years, I do save all my favorite comments. Comment, like, subscribe. It helps me out a ton, guys, to get into this algorithm. 1 week you're in it, 1 week you're not, 1 week you're in it. If you can engage on the video, that would be great. It does help me out a ton. UFC 276 recap. Let's get into the recap here. Another profitable card for myself and clients. A bunch of free winners given out on the video as well for you guys. So hopefully you did tail. Only wrong side was Lawler. Lawler was the only wrong side for me personally on the card. I didn't love the play. It was a smaller unit play. And he was winning the fight. He was looking good early. But Barberine is one tough son of a bitch, right? So he was actually able to hurt Lawler, which I didn't really see that happen. I thought that fight maybe can go all 3 rounds. But Lawler did get hurt, and Barberine got the TKO finish. So that was a bit surprising on the finish standpoint. Barberina winning, maybe not. It was about a minus 110, minus 125 fight. So not ton of concern there or a big shock. It was just finishing the fight how it finished was definitely surprising. 2 big fights that really didn't live up to the hype. However, no upsets there. Both Volk and Adesanya get it done as expected. Both state champs. Impressive performance from Volk, right? No debating who the better fighter is now. And I think Volkanovski is the best pound-for-pound fighter right now. Right now. Right there with Usman. 1A, 1B. If you want to go either side, I don't really think it matters. He just continues to impress, and he continues to get better. He got better from those last 2 Max fights. And he showed it against Korean Zombie as well. Max just doesn't seem to get better. He seemed like he was a little slower in this fight. It was just all Volkanovski. Was it Max slower or was it Volkanovski just getting even better? You don't know, right? So Volk looks incredible. I think he's the best pound-for-pound fighter right now. No, Israel Adesanya, he did what he needed to do. Was it an impressive performance? No, but him on a bad day, as he says, he still beat Jared Cannonier 4 rounds to 1. So I think someone had it 5 too, which is not debated. I think Jared maybe won round 3, but he didn't have a great performance. The jab was really the main weapon for him in this fight. It looked great, the jab, and obviously his movement as well. Jared just a little slower, couldn't get to him. I know Jared was trying to use the cage and try to grind on him a little more. I think he should have done that throughout the fight, but it wasn't a terrible performance from Jared. He just needed to be a little more aggressive if he wanted any chance in that fight. So we may see the rematch, Israel and Pereira. Impressive performance by Pereira. Strickland, stupid game plan as expected. I said that was a shot. I did lean Pereira for you guys. I didn't bet it personally, that fight. But I did lean Pereira, and it was just a bad game plan from Strickland. Thought he could bang with probably the best striker in the world with Adesanya. So not a good game plan from Strickland, which we thought could be the case. I just didn't want to bet on the fight just because not knowing, how would Strickland approach it. Would he approach it smart or not? I guess it was more odds that he wouldn't approach it smart, and that's what happened, right? Pereira just knocked him out. I didn't see a first round knockout from Pereira. I didn't see that. Definitely thought Pereira could win the fight. Maybe finish him a little later in the fight there, but very impressive performance. Love to see those two fight. And the O'Malley fight, I was on him by decision as a client play. Plus 175, good price there. And if the fight didn't, O'Malley wasn't knocking out Pedro. You can see how the game was playing. You could see O'Malley winning on the decision scorecards due to his striking. He got a couple. He was first round was close. He was checking a lot of those kicks, but I think two judges gave it to Pedro. The first round, I don't know if I agree with that. Second round definitely was going O'Malley's way. Had a couple nice jabs, one a nice jab in the eye, and that was the one that was concerning because he hit him in his eye, and if you look at it, I watched a video that breaks it down. 2 times right after he got punched in the right, he was wiping his eye away. So O'Malley hurt his eye, and now his eye was shut. So I don't know what to believe. There was definitely an eye poke as well. It didn't look that bad though, and I just don't see Pedro. I don't think Pedro would fake that, but it could have been from the punch as well, right? So I don't know what to believe here, but definitely will be interesting to see if that they fight in the rematch. Pedro did well. Pedro definitely did well. Weekly update. UFC 119 and 63, 65%. This is very long-term, guys. Long-term winning is what's important. No one cares about your 1 week win or your month win. 63 and 27 shorter term, guys. 70%, and that's not even short term anymore. I could consider that long term. The first one, longer term. Plus 59.1 units. Sorry about that. Needed some water. PGA, a nice Irish Open, hitting 4 prop tickets and a second place in the outright market. Little unlucky in the outright market this year, guys. Third, second in the last 11 events. But we have 2 outrights in the last 11 events too, so that's good. But yeah, just getting a little unlucky with the outright market. Now, very tough to hit outrights in the PGA. I get it. Not even all my clients play it due to that, but I do give them out, and I do have small unit plays on them mostly every week. We're on the right side of the outrights. When you're getting second place, third place, top 5, and they're in your outright, you're on the right path, which is why I continue to bet them. Plus 72.3 units in the prop market long term. MLB, no updates in the MLB. Taking it easy in the MLB. NHL, season over. Here's a reminder. Great regular season. Great playoffs, great run to end the year. Another great season in the NHL. NBA, season over. Great regular season. Playoffs, not the best, but it was slightly profitable. And NFL reminder, let's look at that amazing season last year. And I'll be doing a video in August, a futures video in August. So look out for that. You're not going to want to miss the NFL videos this year. Let's hear from my friend Meredith before we get into this card.
Guys, Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
RDA, yes, RDA plus 180 versus Rafael Fiziev minus 220. Value alert, right when I see this line, value alert, right when I see this on Dos Anjos, right? Back-to-back wins versus Felder and Cananero. Good wins there, solid wins. This is a 5-round fight, which I favored Dos Anjos RDA in. He's been in many of these 5-round fights. Fiziev hasn't. We've seen Fiziev struggle later in fights, right? 3rd round, I've seen him get tired in fights. And if Dos Anjos decides to wrestle where he does have the advantage, he could be wearing Fiziev out trying to stop the takedowns. Now, Fiziev does have good takedown defense. From what I've seen. We haven't seen a ton of it, but he does have some takedown defense. So if he continues to wear him out on that 3rd, 4th round, you're going to have to see how that plays out. Dos Anjos is always in good shape. He's been in a ton of these 5-round fights. So I don't expect that to be an issue for him, and that's where I see some value at the plus 180. I do see some value, right? Dos Anjos is a better grappler and a better wrestler. Now, we haven't seen a ton of wrestling and grappling for Fiziev. We haven't seen a ton, so I can't say he's terrible. I can't say that. We just don't see a ton of it. I've seen a ton of it from Dos Santos, and I know he's better there. Fiziev, obviously the better Muay Thai fighter, the better striker on the feet. But I think Dos Santos is a smart fighter. He's a veteran. He's going to want to mix it up. He's going to want to mix this up, get some takedowns, try to grapple, try to wrestle, right? Dos Santos, obviously the resume is much more impressive. We don't need to get into that. If you guys are even a casual fan, you'll know the resume is better. Fiziev, he's beat some decent guys, Dicasi, Canero as well, Bobby Green, Brad Riddell. Not world beaters. Decent fighters, of course, good fighters, but nothing too flashy or up to a RDA level. This is his toughest test yet, and you're telling me I have to pay minus 220 for Fiziev for his toughest test yet in a 5-rounder where Dos Santos has the better wrestling. Tough to get to. So that's why I see there is value with RDA. He is older, yes. A little older, I get that. And Fiziev's takedown defense may be good enough. Now, it's going to all play to that, right? How is Fiziev going to grapple and wrestle in this fight? Is his takedown defense going to be good enough? Right, if it's standing and banging, Fiziev could hurt him. Now, Dos Santos doesn't get finished, right? We know Fiziev has TKO KO finish. He has that power, but Dos Santos has only been finished a couple times. Most recent 2016, if I can remember. So you got to keep that in mind. That's why I see value here. I see value at the plus 180 with Dos Santos. Hasn't made my betting card as of yet, but I do think it can move up. You could wait on it. I don't think it's going to drop tremendously, but there's value on Dos Santos. I only could look at his way due to the value. Remember, I'm betting from a line standpoint, from a betting standpoint, so there's definitely value in RDA. This could make my betting card as a smaller unit play. It's not a top play for me or a full unit play probably, but definitely value there. Dos Santos just has to carry this fight out, make it scrappy, make it grappling, wrestling, get into the third, fourth round, and see what Fiziev has in the cardio tank. We've seen him struggle in the third before, in a couple fights. So that's going to play a factor here, I think, if he can get it that late, right? If Fiziev gets somewhat of an earlier knockout or something, it's tough to see that, but it is possible. It is possible if this fight stays on the feet for a long time. Fiziev has the power to knock out anyone. But the value is with RDA. I'm going to have to look that way. Borralho minus 220 versus Petrosyan plus 180. This should be a good fight. Two prospects that just started their UFC careers, both 1-0 in the UFC and off the contender series. Borralho should have the wrestling and grappling advantage here. I definitely think Borralho is a very well-rounded guy. Not amazing anywhere. I just think he's well-rounded, strong. And Petrosyan, he's more to a banger, tough guy, good kickboxing, just not the best on the ground and from the wrestling from what I've seen in his previous fights. So I do think Borralho's path to victory here will be to wrestle and get this fight to the ground. We know Petrosyan, he's tough. He'll most likely last until the bell, but I do think Borralho maybe gets enough takedowns to win the fight, and I really like the over 2.5 here. Over 2.5 rounds, probably a good look here. I do think it's going to be a competitive fight. That's why there is slight value Petrosyan. However, I do think Borralho wins due to the wrestling advantage. So I do think the Brazilian gets the win here. Not the great price, though, at minus 220. When I think it's going to be a competitive fight, and I think skill levels are somewhat very even, and Petrosyan probably the better striker, the better striker. So if you can somehow keep this on the feet, or maybe Borralho decides to just bang the whole time, there's some path for Petrosyan here to win the fight. So my favorite play would probably be the over 2.5 rounds, but I think this should be a good fight. This should be a very good fight. That's why the 220. The line's off here, in my opinion. But I like that over there, 2.5 rounds. Nurmagomedov. Yes, we have a Nurmagomedov on the card, minus 340. Yikes. Versus Silva, plus 250. Always hard to bet against the Nurmagomedov family. And that theory falls here as well. Silva's a vet, ton of fights. This could be Nurmagomedov's toughest test yet. He had the toughest test yet against Cody Stamann, and he finished him. So he continues to get better. He trains with the best guys in the world. We know that. Islam, Habib, right? So it's always hard to bet against it. Silva, ton of fights. Good record as well. He's not going to be an easy out. Not going to be, very, very impressive fighter. Always sharp, always in great shape. Very strong type of fighter. Fairly well-rounded as well. Nurmagomedov is well-rounded as well too, though. Not just that wrestler, right? He can strike. Better striker than Khabib and probably Islam. Different type of fighter, right? But this will be his toughest test yet. Don't love the 340. Who could? Who could love the 340? But I do think he wins. I do think he wins this fight. Tough to call. Probably a decision. But a lot of us probably thought he was going to get Cody Stamen to a decision. He didn't. He finished him. So if you ask me, I'll take decision. If I can get plus money on it. But I do think Nurmagomedov gets it. Tough to fit in a 2-fight parlay. All right, unless you have something more in the low minuses. But I do think he wins this fight. He gets it done. Remember, this is not the clean, squeaky 15, 19-0 record like the Khabibs and the Islams. Right? He's 15-2. He's lost to Barcelos in 2019. So he's one level below Khabib and Islam, in my opinion. He's not as good as them, but he continues to get better, which I like to see. And I do like him to win this fight this weekend. Stay away alert. Low tier heavyweights. Videra minus 200 versus Sherman plus 170. Why bet on this fight? One guy's coming in with 3 losses. One guy's coming in with 4 losses. I didn't even know Sherman's still on he got cut. And then they brought him back for a fight. So they probably said, you know what? If you come back and fight on short notice, we'll give you another couple fights. That's probably what happened here. He could win this fight at plus 170. Sure. Both guys have been fighting about the same type of level of competition. It's not a fight I'll be betting, guys. This is my fight that I usually have one fight during this card to say pass. You don't have to bet on every fight. When you start betting on every fight, that's how you lose profit. That's how you get in trouble. No reason to bet on this fight, especially minus 200 on a mid-tier heavyweight. I would have to go, if you gun to head, it has to be Sherman due to the price, plus 170. I cannot bet Vandera in this fight, even though he should win. But imagine paying minus 200 for a guy that should win. And it's not even a clear finish fight. This fight could go all 3 rounds. We've seen these 2 guys fight 2 decisions. This is a fight that I'm just going to pass on. I suggest you pass as well. Value, obviously, with Sherman, but it's low-tier heavyweights. I always tell you guys, low-tier heavyweights, stay away. Stay away. Couple more here to go over. Calvillo minus 150 versus Nunez plus 125. 2 girls on losing streaks, right? Calvillo 3 in a row. Nunez 2 in a row. Nunez took that time off. She's had kids. She's married. She got married, obviously, to Amanda. All against... and if you look at the 2 fights, too, against Nunez, it had that time off. She came back against Dern. It's not a good fight to come back, and she got dominated. We were on Dern by sub in that fight, and she got it in the first round. She got that in the first round. Nunez has been submitted 2 times in her career. Calvillo should have an advantage in the grappling. Can she get the fight to the ground? That's the big question. Will she be able to get this fight to the ground? I don't know. I don't know if she'll be able to get it to the ground. So that's going to be something to look at here. And Calvillo in her last fight, guys, against Lee, it was just not impressive. It was not impressive at all. It was a corner stoppage. Okay, she got beat up. And it's Andre Lee. Right, so I don't know how much she has left. I think she was debating retiring too. Someone convinced her not to. So she could come back with a, ball of fire in this one, right? Nunez has been an ultimate fighter with a kid. How much is she focused into this? There's a lot of question marks in this fight. It has to be Nunez the plus 125 or nothing for me. Watch the weigh-ins on this one, though. These girls have weigh-in issues, so definitely want to watch the weigh-ins and see how that happens. Not a fight that's going to make my client card, but yeah, there's definitely Nunez value at plus 125. Michael Johnson plus 200 versus Malarkey minus 240. It should be a fun fight. Both guys like to slug it out and bang. Johnson's coming off that nice win against Alan Patrick really finished him. Malarkey ran into a tough turner, right? So who looking at like a stud these days, Turner, I don't fault him for that loss. We know Malarkey, what he's going to do, come out and bang and fight, and that's what we like. That's what we like to see from these two guys. That's what I expect here. I think Malarkey, if he does make it ugly and grapple, decide to make it ugly, put it against the cage, wrestle, I think he has the advantage there. So yeah, I like Malarkey. I don't like the price at minus 240. This won't make my betting card due to the price, but if I can find maybe a Malarkey finish at plus money, I will look that way. But yeah, I'll be sitting back and watching this fight, guys. Johnson, you never know where you're going to get out of the guy. He obviously trains with high-level guys, top-level guys. Malarkey's a scrappy type of dude. If Johnson does catch him, he could catch him, which wouldn't be a crazy surprise. Malarkey has been tested with his chin before. We have seen him. His chin is a little bit questionable, but I think Malarkey just scraps this one out, wins an ugly one, but this won't make my betting card this weekend. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Like I mentioned, in August I'll have the future NFL video every week. You'll see me in UFC videos. I haven't missed a video for years, 4 years now. So I love doing this. Hopefully you guys enjoy them as well. Comment, guys. It helps me out a ton, get these videos rolling. And like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Take care.